No, it's live.
We're live.
I said it's live.
We're live.
Okay. Oh, yep, there it is.
We are live.
Oh, except it says Eve per night.
Solid.
Just so you know.
I can't change that.
Hi, Trent. Hi, Melissa. Just so you know, this is not a prayer night. But it says that. But it's not. We are fixing it.
Yo.
Okay. Melissa says, hi.
Yeah, I can't change that. So, we're live. It'll say prayer night, but it's not a prayer night. Go.
Yep. Who else? Kayla, Patty, Kenzie, Allison. Allison, I want to know how your interview went. You should tell me a quick synopsis in the comments. I was thinking about you. What's everybody doing for Valentine's Day? / highlight of the snow. Has anyone made a snowman? We have not. We were snowed in our house.
We were snowed in. We're currently at our in-laws because our car is under a pile of snow. We can't move it.
Stone?
Snow.
It's not like stone.
Alrighty.
Okay, just bear with us. We're figuring some technical...
Sorry, you guys. We are running from a different usual place, and so it is a little bit different tonight. But so glad you're here and watching. We are going to... What up, Reagan Broom? Good to see you, dude.
Hi, Lindsay.
I just wanted to get on here for a little bit to do a Q&R. We want to answer some questions of yours. And so submit them now. Submit them as we talk. We're not going to talk very long. But we do want to just talk about relationships tonight. So that is our live. So submit your questions. You can put them right here in the comments. And we'd love to answer your questions.
If you don't want to put them in the comments, you could text to 97,000. If you're already a part of the texting stream, you don't have to text anything. If not, text LWI FAM to 97,000. If you don't want to do a public question.
But let us know before we start questions what you've been doing in the snow. Have you guys been sledding? Are you making snowman? What are you doing? Hit it up. And it's a midwinter break. So you guys have a long weekend, which is awesome. Super cool. But let us know in the chat. Let us know. We want to see. Oh, what up, James? What up, everybody? Start submitting your questions. We love to answer your questions. Emma says she's been eating the snow. Sick.
Love it.
Sledding and snowmen. Let's go.
Nice.
Both.
My favorite is sledding, but we haven't gone sledding yet. Maybe tomorrow.
I think it'll be gone by tomorrow. We'll see.
It will be gone.
We'll see.
It'll just be very slushy.
We will see. Okay.
Oh, they're watching from YouTube. That's why I can't see the comments.
Oolale. Sledding. Let's go.
Melissa, sledding, snowman, snowball fights. Kids have been having Oh, yeah, I bet your kids are just
We attached a sled to the back of our quad and drove around the street. I said that super weird. Drove around the street. That's dope, awesome. Kayla. That's so dope.
I've always wanted to do that, but I never have.
So
be attached
dope.
to some sort of vehicle and be on a sled.
Yeah.
It'd be so fun.
Sounds like a broken bone waiting to happen.
Hey, Gideon. Okay, we've had some questions on the other one in our texting app.
Alrighty. Submit your questions. We're gonna answer a couple questions tonight as we talk about relationships. Questions on liking, questions on dating. What up, Trey? Claire? Glad you're here, dude.
And waiting.
Trent said shoveled the church parking lot with Gideon.
Oh, you guys are amazing. We actually had to go there today. Yeah. We were so surprised at how... Wait, Did you literally wait, Trent? You need to answer. Did you guys actually shovel everything, or was there a snowplow?
He said shoveled, which I'm gonna be really impressed if you guys shoveled.
It was like extremely plowed.
There was huge piles of snow.
Hi, Kyla. Kyla said snowball fights. That's
Trey
awesome.
likes my mustache. Ha!
I never said I didn't like it.
You said it was time to go. That is what you said. Oh, he said snowplow.
Okay.
Darn it. I wish it was.
Trey, your message was kind of timely, I guess, because now he's probably going to keep the mustache longer.
Yep, 100%.
Maybe we should take a vote. Who thinks we should keep
it? I will not submit my mustache to the voting of
No, but then
our
it
students.
at least tells us what the people are thinking.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Because they're all thinking about your mustache.
Yeah, they're all thinking about my mustache. Let's go.
Okay, you have that up, then I'll go over here.
All right. Okay, submit your questions. We already got a couple coming in. You can submit them in the Instagram comments or through the texting, just to 97,000. We'd love to get your questions.
Melissa's laughing.
I like
time to go. Thanks,
I
Melissa.
like the mustache. It adds something, you know. Just a nice addition. Nice addition. Okay, send in your questions. We want to answer some questions tonight. We're not perfect. We're not experts, but we do have some insight on liking, dating, and waiting. And so text your questions in. We'd love to respond to them. We have a couple, and so let's start with this one.
Yeah, this is a great question.
What's the best way to keep God in the center of a relationship? Me and my girlfriend have been having a hard time doing that lately. Mm-hmm. That's a great question. One more time. What's the best way to keep God in the center of a relationship? Me and my girlfriend have been having a hard time doing that lately. Great question. Mm-hmm. You have any thoughts? You want to start?
You're gonna say that. I think that. Oh yeah, you're gonna go.
I was just gonna say I would start with this. Like the fact that you're asking is a good sign.
Yeah.
I think the number one indicator of people who are not going to put God first in the relationship, not put God in the center of a relationship, is people who aren't trying to, people who aren't desiring to. So if you're not even thinking about it, then you don't just wake up one day and God's at the center of your relationship.
Yep.
You don't just fall out of bed and boom, God's at the center of your relationship. And so it's actually a choice. It's actually something that you have to put effort into doing. And so there's no possible way that it just happens on accident. And so the fact that you're asking a question means you're thinking about it, and you're thinking about it because you've been struggling with it. And if you're struggling is a great indicator that you're trying. Struggling is a great indicator that you are doing something, but you're hitting up against a wall. But the people who don't have God at the center of the relationship aren't hitting a wall because they're not trying, they don't care, and it's just the reality. And so they're just going to end up not having a God-centered relationship. So the fact that you're asking, the fact that you're struggling is actually a sign that you are moving somewhere, you're making some kind of progress. Because without struggle, there is no growth. And so you can't struggle. If you don't, like, if you want to grow, you have to struggle.
Yeah.
You can't have one without the other. So that's the start of the answer to the question. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think because like you said, it's such a good question and clearly displays your desire to do what you're asking. And I think often, because I know when we were dating, even now, not just dating, it's a question that comes up, like, how do we keep God in the center? And I think sometimes we think of it too much as like the two of us, and we have to like do something to put God in the center, when I would ask you first, like, how is your personal relationship with Jesus?
Come on.
Because I think especially in dating relationships, it's like, feels like this thing we have to do. Okay, let's make God at the center of our relationship.
Yep.
Totally good desire. Nothing wrong with that. But we, I think, sometimes neglect our own relationship with Jesus and underestimate how naturally our own relationship with Jesus will bring God into the center if you're both individually pursuing that. So I think I would ask you, how's your own pursuit of Jesus? How is your time with him? How is your time reading his word? How is your time in prayer? How's your time in worship? All those things that grow our relationship with the Lord. To start there. And then even just, I think sounds really simple, but just inviting God into moments, you know, when you're going on a date or you're hanging out or you're having conversation, you're FaceTiming, whatever it is, to be reminded that you have the ability with the Holy Spirit inside of you to invite the Lord into any moment. So it doesn't have to be this big, like, okay, that means we're going to do a Bible study every single morning over FaceTime. You may, and that might be an awesome thing that invites the Lord into those moments, but to be reminded, it's the little things. It's like the normal day-to-day things that you can invite the Lord into. But bring it back to how's your own personal relationship with Jesus, and starting there, because don't underestimate what that will bring into your relationship as a couple.
It's really good. I would say the other thing is hear me. Okay, listen, look me in the eye. If you are in a relationship and you want to put God at the center, but you're struggling. If you are not in a relationship, but you want to be in a relationship one day, and you want to have a relationship that's centered around God, please hear this next statement. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
Hear this. This is going to be good. I promise. Putting God at the center of your relationship is not a line you cross. It is a process that you are always going to be in.
That's really good.
I got it. It took me a second, but I got it. I'm going to say it one more time. If you are in a relationship and you want to be centered around God, but you're struggling. If you want to be in a relationship someday and you want it to be a God-centered relationship, putting God at the center of your relationship is not a line you cross and then I've arrived, I'm done. It is not a line you cross, but it is a process you will continually be in. Point in case, we are no longer dating. Well, we kind of are, but we're married, right? And putting God at the center of a relationship is just as hard now, some days, as it is you're trying to do it in a dating relationship. Now,
it doesn't get easier.
Well, in some ways, I think the more you do it, the easier it is to do. Because it becomes more natural, it becomes more of your habits, it becomes more of your rhythms. True. But it's not a we still have to we still do not wake up with a God-centered relationship. We still don't have a God-centered relationship on accident. We have to put effort into it. Point in case again, right before this live started, we were in a little bit of an argument setting up these stupid lights for this live stream. And instead of just being grumpy and going into this live stream together, I said, that would not happen. I said, hey, when you did this, it made me feel this way. I said, but I shouldn't have responded that way. Will you please forgive me? And then we had an opportunity to forgive each other. See, it doesn't just happen on accident. You have to continually be intentional about putting God at the center of your relationship. And so it doesn't happen on accident, and it's not a line you cross. It's a process you will always be in for the rest of your life as long as you are in a relationship. And that's both romantic and friendships. Totally. And so that's good. That is great question.
Let's do this question.
Which one?
The one we're on.
Perfect. What should waiting look like? Ooh, that's a great question. What should waiting look like? How do I best go about being patient while waiting? They had a typo that they corrected.
I know, it's really funny.
It said, how do I go about being patient while eating? And let's be real, I'm not patient when I'm eating because I just want to scarf it all down. But no, being patient about waiting. What should waiting look like? That is a great question. That's really good. Because I think it's really easy to know that like there are seasons for waiting. I think a lot of us as Christians, as followers of Jesus, would say like, yes, there's definitely a season where it's not the right time, I need to wait. But I think it's so much harder to realize what waiting actually looks like. And so I think that's a great question. And Amanda's going to answer it first. I answered the other one first. You answer this one.
We both answered both the last one.
But I answered first.
I think the first thing that pops in my head is, because I just have this kind of like picture of just this really like, not specifically this person, but just anybody in this specific area of life. Like, I just want to be in a relationship so bad, I can't stand waiting any longer. And that makes me think of, we talked about this in our last video, but just the idol of relationships. And so maybe for you, this is an opportunity to check your own heart of, am I wanting this so badly that it's creating this impatient heart in me that then is like distracting me and keeping me from all these other things? And again, relationships are not bad. It is totally a God-given thing to want to be in a relationship, to want that connection with that person, that is not bad. But if it becomes a thing that like completely consumes your life, then that's when it's kind of a red. Why are you smiling?
Huh?
Why are you smiling?
Because Chloe Evans is on this live. Let's go.
Chloe, I miss you.
Chloe, we miss you so much. Let's go. LWI fam,
For
alumni
life.
for life.
I forgot my train of thought.
Sorry, I'm so bad.
It's okay. I guess what I was trying to say is there's not a specific answer of here's things you should do while you're waiting, other than, I mean, I think we've said this a lot, but like work on your own self. Think about the things that you want in somebody else, and how can you grow in your own relationship with the Lord? How can you grow in just being a good friend? How can you grow in loving people well? How can you grow in all those areas that you probably want in someone and maybe you would want in yourself? Those are great things to like do while you're waiting. And then also just, I think just like enjoying life, because I think sometimes we just get so like consumed with this that it just like takes so much away from, especially being young. It's like you have so many things in front of you, and the time will come. It will, and I don't know when for you, but it will. And so being able to embrace where the Lord has you and be able to ask Him every day, like, Lord, how can you use me today in this season I'm in?
Yeah, it's super good. I think just to answer the question of what waiting should look like, how do you go about being patient while waiting? I think I'll answer the first one, what should waiting look like? I think there's no cookie cutter answer for what waiting should look like, because we're all in different places and we're all in different seasons. And, for some of you waiting, you've been in relationship with someone, you dated somebody and it ended in heartbreak. And so your waiting is going to look a little bit different than someone who's never been in a relationship.
Yeah, that's good.
Right? Because if you're waiting and you've already been in a relationship and it didn't end so well, your waiting, I think is a great opportunity for you to focus on healing and focus on, okay, what happened in that relationship? How can I evaluate what happened and be better the next time? How can I be more like Jesus the next time? And so I think for those that are waiting, it kind of depends on what it looks like. And then the other question I'd ask for you is like, who do you want to be by the time you're in a relationship? Because it's like, I think what you said was so great. Like, if all you're focusing on is being in a relationship, then like you're not waiting well. But like it's also okay to think about it. And I think one of the greatest ways to think about it isn't, okay, like let me keep my binoculars out so I can find the right person, but how am I taking advantage of this waiting season to become the person I want to be? And so ask yourself, this is a great exercise. Go get your journal, get a pen, and take one page and just kind of think about the things that you are, things that maybe you're not so good at. Like, I'm not very patient. Think about things that you struggle in, and then make a list of like, who do I want to be? Who do I, if other people were to be given an opportunity to say, this is what Wes is like, what do I want them to say? And really saying, okay, like I'm going to take this waiting season not to just sit around and wait. I think that's what's so great about waiting seasons with God, is that though it's a waiting season for what we maybe want most, you're not just waiting around. You're getting to work. And so waiting seasons are not lazy seasons. Waiting seasons are not lazy seasons. Waiting seasons are working seasons. And so I would say get to work on the things that you want to grow in, who you want to be. And how you do that is find somebody who's further down the road that you can do life with. Find community around you, right? A leader before you, community around you, and a disciple behind you. How can you get people in your life that are helping you become the person that you want to be? Scripture in the Proverbs talks about bad company corrupts good character. And the reality is who we hang out with is who we become. And so I would challenge you, who are you hanging out with? And so I think waiting season, because you're not tied to another person in any form of commitment, which commitment means time. And so it means you have a little bit of extra time in these waiting seasons. And so I would take the extra time to get around people that will help you grow and look more like Jesus.
That's good.
So take advantage. That would be what I would say. Just take advantage of this waiting season, because eventually you're going to find someone that you love very much, and hopefully you're dating them so you can get to know them better, grow in relationship, and they may become the person that you are with for the rest of your life. And so take advantage of these seasons where you are waiting. And this is the last thing I would say. My long answer. I think sometimes waiting seasons to us. Hear me, please. If you if you're in a waiting season, you've been in a waiting season, or you think you might be in a waiting season one day, which is all of us, which is all of you.
Yeah. Not just relationships.
Yeah, not just relationships. I believe this wholeheartedly. What seems like an inconvenience to us, if we could see what God sees, we'd see it as a blessing and not as an inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right? I think I did.
Yeah.
So if you were able to see what God sees in your waiting season that you see as an inconvenience, you'd actually see that it was a blessing from God's point of view. And so just remember that as you are in the middle of a waiting season, you're like, oh, this sucks. This is so inconvenient. This is not what I want. Remember, God's ways are higher than our ways. His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. He can see what we cannot see. And so remember that season is actually potentially a huge blessing that you have no idea is happening right before you. And so just want to encourage you with that. Lots going on underneath the surface. Take advantage of this waiting season, make it a working season, and grow into the person you want to become, because it's a blessing that God has put you in waiting season, and you just have no idea because you can't see the big picture like he does. So be encouraged. Be encouraged. The famous question. The famous question. How do you know you found the one? The one and the only person. The one. The one.
The person.
How else can I say that? How do you know if you found the one? Thoughts?
You go. No.
Okay, so
I think we both agree
I can't help but get
so.
into a theological point of view. And so I'll get into that a little bit because I think it's interesting.
In a way that they can understand.
I think it's interesting. But I was even just saying this earlier. I don't actually believe there's a one. I think that there are plenty of ones that you could end up together with. I believe there are,
and have a good relationship. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we think like
you're not getting second best by missing the one.
I could marry that person, but it's not going to be as good as it's that person.
Yeah.
Like I think we get in that like.
Yeah. I just think that's not how God works. I think it's a small view of God to say, well, if I don't marry the one, I'm getting second best by marrying this other person or being with this other person, being in this relationship with this other person. I just don't think that's how it's viewed. So I think there's actually plenty of people that you can end up together. There's not actually a one. That's just a belief I have. And if you think about it logically, we're all sinned, imperfect people, right? We're all sinners, imperfect, flawed. And so at some point down the line, you think like back in Jesus' time or even Adam and Eve time, you think that there had to have been one person at least that messed up. And if they messed up, right? Follow with me. I mean, like if one person 2,000 years ago messed up and married the wrong one, then that means from that moment on, all these other people married the wrong one because they married somebody else's person and then somebody else has married the other person, right? So logically, it does not make sense. And then theologically, I think God already knows because he is outside of time. So that's hard to explain, but he existed before time began. So he's not on the linear line that we're on. This was 1995. This was 2010. This was 2021. He's actually like above it. And so he's not inside time, but I do believe. I do believe that he knows who you're going to end up with because he knows you so well. He knows how you're going to choose. It's not like you're forced into choosing a person. That's not how it works. God's outside of time. So I don't believe in the one. So don't stress about finding the one. Yeah. Stress about becoming the one. Don't stress, but focus on. Yeah. Don't focus on finding the one, but focus on becoming the one. How can you be the one that you would be like? I'm deserving of somebody great because I've focused on becoming a better follower of Jesus. I look like Jesus. I'm a servant. I'm worth something. I'm a high value because I've focused on becoming the right one instead of finding the one.
Yeah. I think the question under the question often with this is like, how do I know if so and so, whoever you're dating,
the person like right now,
yeah, or future, doesn't matter. Yeah. The question under the question is often not even really about the one, but like, should I marry this person?
Yeah.
Is this person someone I should continue dating? Is this like that's more the question? And I think even just practically, like there's a lot of things. Like, one, you should have people in your life that are speaking into this relationship that you trust, and you trust they trust that they know you, that they know this other person, that they're able to speak into, like, hey, these are red flags I'm seeing with this person, or things like that. And then even more than that, like, as a person yourself, you should think about the things that you value in your future spouse, like the non-negotiable things of
non-negotiables. We're gonna talk about that this month at some point, online, YouTube, podcast. So keep an eye out for non-negotiables, because that's a huge one.
Super important when dating.
It's what you won't negotiate. There's no way that you negotiate it. Your non-negotiables, which aren't color of hair, and aren't they're attractive, they're not attractive. That is not a non-negotiable.
I thought I was gonna marry someone really tall with dark hair and a beard.
Yikes! I am not tall. I don't have a beard, and my hair is super.
This was like a long time ago, so before I was probably less mature. You knew that.
You married the wrong person.
No, I didn't. So I think practically, when those asking that question, those are a few things, like have people in your life that speak into the relationship. Have those non-negotiables, which we will talk about, maybe how to form those lists of non-negotiables if you have no idea how to form it. Which is a few things would be like they're constantly pursuing a relationship with Jesus. They have people in their lives. They submit to leadership and authority. They long to grow.
Submit to leadership and authority. Find you a person who is willing to follow somebody else.
Yeah. That's just a little tidbit. Yeah. But I think that answers or responds to the question well enough. Which one do we want to do next?
Definitely this one. They said, not a question, but Wes's mustache is sexy. So.
Whatever.
I trimmed it today a little bit. Did you notice?
Yeah. No, actually I didn't.
Cool. It's less over my lip. So for when we kiss.
Which
Anyways.
we're not going to do right now.
Okay, next question. Okay,
I'll read it.
No, let's do this one.
Not that one?
Yeah, let's do this one.
Well, they're very similar.
Yeah, but this one I like some better.
Okay. I like this kid and he doesn't like me back. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. I like this kid. I like that they said this kid.
Did you ever like somebody and they didn't like you back? I mean, I liked you before you liked me.
Yeah. What'd you do? Yeah, there was a time when you liked me and I did not like you back.
Yeah.
So what'd you do?
Not a whole lot. Just gonna be honest. I was not going to manipulate him into liking me, which I think we can often do. That's a good word. In weird, subtle ways that maybe you don't think you're manipulating, but you actually are. Which things would be like, even just like flirting when you're like, this person doesn't like you, and it's not like it's bad to flirt, but doing these things or saying these things because maybe it's somehow gonna like reel them in.
Yeah. Being passive.
Yeah.
With it. Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. This was like a long time ago. I'm trying to think. I think I did talk to people about it. So I had specifically one person that, to be able to talk through, like, what do I do? So I would suggest finding someone to talk to about this. Probably that's maybe a little bit farther down the road than you. Not that you can't talk to a friend, but maybe someone who might have a little bit different advice.
Ryland. What up,
Ryland.
dude? So good to see you on here.
Your name.
Kyle, that stash is the one for me. Yes, it is, dude. Let's go.
What else would you say?
I like this kid and doesn't like me back.
What do I do?
What do you do? Well, I think whoever is asking, listen up. Because this is what I would say to you. You are worth being liked.
Yeah.
And so
that's good.
Don't wait around for somebody who doesn't want to be with you, because if like and granted it may work out down the road, but I think there comes a point where we put so much it's not even that we do stuff or we spend a lot of time doing things, but we spend a lot of mind capacity. We spend a lot of time thinking, right? Yeah, mental space. We spend a lot of mental space on thinking about this person that doesn't like us back. And I would just tell you, like, work on you. Become a better follower of Jesus. Become somebody that is, like, if you follow Jesus, it's attractive to find somebody who follows Jesus. And so I think the more you become like Jesus, the more attractive you will be to people who follow Jesus. But I would say, like, don't wait around for somebody who doesn't see the value in you, or is focused somewhere else, or like somebody else. Like, you are worth finding somebody who's like, holy cow, you are awesome, and I like you a lot. Like, so I would just encourage you.
It takes them a little while.
Yeah, I would just encourage. Maybe one day they'll realize, but don't waste your time just waiting for that person, because you're more deserving than that. And yet if you just, the heart wants what it wants. That, I mean, that's super cliche, but it's honestly true. Like, you can't help who you're attracted to. You can't help. Well, I'll say that wrong. You are naturally just attracted. You have thoughts of attraction towards people naturally, and you have to steward those thoughts and those feelings. And so if you just can't make it go away, that's just a reality. But don't put your whole life in that basket, to where if it doesn't work out, you fall apart. And while you were talking, I think the reason you didn't manipulate it or anything like that, because you were more secure in who you were.
Yeah.
And I would say, check your heart. Like, are you secure in who you are? Are you confident in who you are? Now, we all have flaws, and we're all, there's areas where I'm less confident than others. But I would challenge you. Start working on becoming more secure. Start working on, I'm really confident in who God's called me to be. And I think as you become more secure, you're less worried about what they think, and you're more worried about, your life, and not hoping that they realize your life. And so that's what I would say.
Yeah.
And
I think I know I kind of touched on it, but like, truly, like, you should not have to trick someone, manipulate someone, or do anything to make someone convince for someone to like you back. And if that's the case, then they're not worth it. Yeah. I mean,
don't try to. You're worth more than convincing somebody to like you. And we're not saying that's what you're doing, but we just want to make sure, because it's
just easy to.
It's just so easy to get focused on, this is the person I like, and so I would just encourage you, like, if you just continue to like them, like, it's okay to have those feelings. Don't get rid of them. Don't suppress them. But don't spend all of your energy on them, because it may not work out. And I think the more secure you become, the more secure you become, the more stable you'll be in the storm. Does that make sense? The more secure you become, the more stable you'll be when crap hits the fan. Like, the more secure you become, the more stable you'll be when things don't go your way. The person you like doesn't like you back. And so it's really about a self-security, a confidence, an inner confidence that really only comes from Jesus, because we are flawed, imperfect people. And if I just try to rely on myself, like, I am not going to be that confident, because I'm not that great in comparison to who my God is and who He calls me to be. And so, yeah.
It's good. I think we can do one of these questions. That one.
Which one?
Probably that one. I'll pull it up because it's different than.
Go for
it. You go for it.
I don't know which one you're talking about. I'm just
going to remind people that they can.
This one?
Yes.
Okay. How can Christians solve relationship conflicts? How can Christians solve relationship conflicts? Great question. Before I get to the answer of that, I'll say this. I think sometimes we see conflict. I think sometimes we see conflict as something's wrong, and so I just want to encourage everybody out there. If you're in a relationship, or one day you want to be in a relationship, just because you have conflicts doesn't mean there's something wrong. It's actually healthy to have conflict, because you learn how to deal with it, and there's just, conflict is inevitable, and so you will continue to have conflict for the rest of your life in all of your relationships. And so I would encourage you to remember that when you are in the midst of a relationship. But how can Christians solve relationship conflicts? I think this question is much more simple than I think we could probably make it, and that is, have conversations, which is sounds simple, sounds pretty logical, yet we don't do it. Yeah. A lot of our culture is convinced that eventually they'll figure it out, or texting is a better alternative for solving conflict, or it just so many different alternatives in this culture. And And culture teaches us that, we mentioned this in our podcast, but dealing with conflicts, culture teaches us a lot through movies and TV shows and social media that, like, when I'm upset about something you did, you have to fix it, or you have to fix you before I'm going to be, I'm going to be okay with you again.
Yeah.
And the reality is that conflict is solved with two people, not just one. You can't solve a conflict with just one person. It has to be a conversation. It has to be mutual. And I would say that's how you solve relationship conflicts for humans across the world. It's not just Christians. But I think as Christians, we ought to set the example for healthy relationships. Like, man, the church should be the place where the healthiest relationships exist. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
If the church, the young people, this generation, your generation, what if you set the example for healthy relationships? That it wasn't the culture that set the example for relationships, but it was the youth of this generation, the youth that are following Jesus with their whole heart. What if we as the church, the body of Christ, set the example for relationships? How cool would that be? And I think one of the biggest ways we can do that is starting with conflict, how we deal with conflict.
Yeah.
That just because conflict comes our way doesn't mean we just ditch that relationship and say, sayonara, and we just go somewhere else. But man, we go into the depths of that conflict and we deal with it no matter how hard it is. We're going to tell the truth. We're going to love each other through it. And I think that would be one of the greatest testimonies to the world that our God is real and that our God is worth following, if we were to set the example in relationships to have a healthy relationship. Because, every day you see on Instagram and Twitter and, People Magazine and, who's getting a divorce this week and who's having relational problems this week and, who's bashing each other on Twitter this week, and it's just, that is the example. And so after seeing that so many times, you're like, that's the norm. That's what relationships look like. And if you listen to our podcast, we talked about a lot of influences when it comes to relationships. We talked about Hollywood. We talked about your home life. We talked about Instagram, highlight reels, And I think home. I think you begin to create a norm for what relationship looks like, specifically when it comes to conflict, based on what your home looks like, based on what was modeled for you by your parents or your guardians, whoever's in your home, a stepdad, a stepmom, and so you are modeled, and that becomes your norm. And so I would say, man, I think the norm is to have conflict because that's just normal and human and natural. But the norm is not what culture sets the example as, which is just fighting and bickering and selfishness. No, conflict should look selfless. Conflict should look like Philippians chapter 2, where it says, I'm putting other people's interests above mine. Don't just look to the interests of yourself, but look to the interests of others. And so when I come to a conflict moment with you, what we need to set the example as, which the culture does not set the example as, is I'm going to put your interest above my interest. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to look to how can I be a better husband? How can I serve you? What can I do better? That's the example that I think we should set. And I think that's how we should look at conflict as followers of Jesus, that we would not just follow culture, that we would not just get in line with culture, but that we would set the example as Christ followers to have conversations, because we aren't going to deal with conflict well if we're not having conversations well. And so, yeah, I think that's my long answer.
Yeah.
I want to say it's glitchy. Hopefully you caught all that.
It does look like it's glitchy on Instagram.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys can still hear us, and it might be the Wi-Fi, but we'll keep going. Hopefully you guys can still hear us, and even if you can't see us fully moving.
You may be able to watch back, and it might be non-glitchy. I don't know.
It'll be up on YouTube after the fact, and hopefully it'll be better then. So if you want to catch
or you can jump over to YouTube. I don't know if maybe it's glitchy on both.
Not sure. Anyways, we'll just answer one more question.
Yeah.
And then we'll do our giveaway.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. Okay. One more question. Want to do that one? Or we can do both. We can do both.
Okay, yeah, we'll just have to make
They
it
can
fast.
hear us well, but the video is just laggy. Sweet.
Okay, so I'm glad you can at least hear.
Let's do both.
Okay.
Do both?
Yeah.
Audio is golden. Perfect.
Great.
Okay, this question has to do with God's timing when it comes to relationships.
How do you know if he's saying no or just not
Does
now?
God's timing include right person, wrong time? How do you know if he's saying no or just not now? Which is a great question.
That's a really good question.
I think timing, more than finding the right person, I think the more important thing than finding the person is finding the right timing. Because we've all heard it said, former youth pastor to LWY, Chase Merrill, love you. He would always say, the right person at the wrong time can make it the wrong person. And so it's really about right timing because it needs to be the right person at the right timing to really be the right relationship. And so a lot of it has to do with right timing. And so when do you know if it's just a no? When do you know if it's just not now? And honestly, it's a pretty hard question.
It is.
Because there really is no direct answer.
Or like big
Philippians chapter 3 does not say this, doesn't give you a direct answer. That's what's so hard about relationships is that there isn't often a direct answer in Scripture. You really got to dig deep to find biblical principles that can apply to timing. And so I don't have a direct answer for when can you know if it's now, when can you know if it's no or just not now.
I think though there's because I think in a lot of questions about relationships we really desire this like big loud yes or no or these like super obvious answers to our questions. And I think specifically with this one, I think how you know is honestly really small indicators oftentimes that maybe don't fully come across as like, okay, well that must mean that's not the right time. But I feel like I've said this in every single answer, but I feel like inviting people in is a huge thing when it comes to being able to ask that like input from somebody else. Like in my own life, like say you're that person and I'm asking you, like what are things in me do you feel like I'm in a place where I could be in a relationship and you always could be in a relationship, but it's more like being able to evaluate, like you said, those things. Is my identity in a place where I know who I am and I'd be okay if I'm not in this relationship, or is it in a different space and it's like my life will crumble if I'm not in this relationship? And
it's really good.
So there's not really a clear answer, but I think there's small indicators that often can tell us if, and don't underestimate the Holy Spirit speaking to you. And there's often, and that's a whole other thing of learning the voice of God, but there's often things that I think we know before we're ready to admit that we actually know that it's not the right time with somebody.
It's really good. I have a thought on that. So when it comes to, if you're just hopping on, what up, Will Bond, Nick Beatty, so good to see you guys on here. When it comes to timing, I think what really you have to think about is, am I being obedient or am I being disobedient? So instead of thinking of no and not now, think about obedience and disobedience. And this is what I would encourage you with. Sometimes God is a very big God, and so even if say you have 2 choices or 3 choices, I could pursue this person in relationship and get to know them as a friend, or I could go down this way. You have choices. You have people that like maybe you're interested in getting to know better to see if there's someone that you'd want to be in a relationship with. This is what I would say. If you hear a no and you know it's not right, and you have it's just a spirit check, like you just know in your spirit, you just know in your mind, like they are not going to make me better. They are not going to make me a better person. They're not going to make me a better follower of Jesus. They're not going to point me to Jesus well. Like it would just be a bad decision for me. It would lead me down a path I don't want to go down. When you hear a no, and I think a no better than a yes, because yes is hard, right? Yes is like, well, it's not bad, but is this the right person? Is this the one? And I think that's not the way to think about it, because I think it's more so, if you don't hear a no, then I think it's God's permission to you to say like I'm gonna bless the decisions that you make. I'm gonna give you favor as you follow me and as you put me first. And if you choose this person, I'll bless your life and I'll have favor on your life. If you choose this person, I'll bless your life and I'll have favor on your life, because you are choosing to put me first. But when you choose somebody and you choose to be in a relationship, you know it's a no, and you know that's being disobedient. And so I think when it comes to choosing the person, like a no is a feeling that you will recognize and you will be able to tell the difference. And that's, if you choose somebody like that, that's a disobedient thing. And it doesn't matter if you think they're the right person or it's the right timing. Like that's just gonna not end well. And so I would think about it like that. Are you being obedient? And if you don't hear a no, then I think obedience could be just taking a step of faith into a relationship that may or may not work out, but God's in the middle of it, and you're choosing to put Him first. So that is that. Okay, last question. How do I not compare my relationship with other people in relationships? That is a great question.
I think the way it's worded, I feel like that maybe they're saying they're not in a relationship, and how do I not compare to people in relationships? Because
either way, it's a comparison thing. So, yeah, how do I compare my relationship with other people in relationships? Great question. I think it's super easy to. Do that.
Yep. Especially in the world of social media.
Yeah, I would say get off social media for a minute. If that's really a struggle for you, I think one of the greatest influencers of comparison, the thing that influences you the most to a place of comparison is Instagram. You will compare right and left. It doesn't matter who they are, if you know them or not. It just triggers something, and we are visual human beings, and God's created us that way. And when we see something that we want, that we wish we had, it's jealousy. Comparison is really jealousy. We don't like to say that because it sounds like we're bad people if we're jealous people. But the reality is we're very jealous people. And that's why we compare so much. And so I would encourage you to one, recognize what you're being influenced by. I think comparison and jealousy, I think the first step in fighting that is finding how you're being influenced by it. So where is the comparison coming from? Where is the jealousy coming from? Is it coming from Instagram? Then maybe I need to take a step back from Instagram. Maybe it's not coming from Instagram. Maybe it's coming from the friends around you. And I would say, if it's the friends around you, you're like, man, all my friends have people that they like, and I don't have anybody, or this relationship, they just look like they're having fun all the time, and we feel like we're just like bickering all the time, or whatever it is. I would say, if you're around a bunch of people that are in a relationship and you're not, pray for them. Love them, serve them. How can you encourage them, celebrate them? If they're in a relationship and they're really putting God first, and they're having a great time, having a lot of fun, celebrate the crap out of them. That's so awesome. I'm so happy for you. Like, that's so cool that you found somebody that you are in a relationship with, and you guys are growing in your love for Jesus. And like, I'm just so pumped for you. Celebrate them. It's really hard to still be jealous when you are celebrating them and you are praying for them. Because when you celebrate them and when you pray for them, God begins to change your heart to see it differently and have a different perspective. And so I would say, celebrate people around you, the people that you want what they have, celebrate them, pray for them. Those are
I would
thoughts.
say, though, you touched on it, but like, not that you can't celebrate people, but I think there are times when maybe there's people around you that actually they're not in a good place.
Yeah.
Ask yourself, because maybe...
Thank God that you're not in that,
Yeah, and I just say, not that you shouldn't celebrate them, but as a friend, you want to be able to not enable, I guess, the things that are not super great in their life.
Yeah.
But I think also with comparison, it's so often something we desire and we don't have. So, whether it's I desire to be in a relationship and I don't have that, or I desire the relationship I'm in to look like that, or to seem like that, or whatever it is. And so I think within your comparison, like, ask yourself, like, what is it that I'm desiring?
Yeah.
And what are those things? And then even more than that, how can I make those things that I can bring to the Lord and He can work on my own heart?
Yeah.
Because it's not bad to have desires, but we don't want to leave ourselves in a space where we're desiring all these things, and so it just, jealousy just grows in our heart, and comparison and all those things, when it's really actually an opportunity that we can Because I've had moments of comparison and jealousy, and in those times, it's like I can either stay there or I can ask myself what's going on and invite the Lord into that moment to, okay, where can I grow? Where can I do what you said, celebrate, talk to those friends still, work on things in my own life, which is not our natural longing to do when we feel jealous.
It's really good. Yeah, great questions, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in tonight. I just want to encourage you with this thought from Luke chapter 6. When it talks about building your life on the rock. And it talks about that person dug deep and they built their house on the rock. And when the storm came, it stood strong. But the person who didn't dig deep, who didn't build their house on the rock, when the storm came, it fell to the ground and the ruin was terrible. And I would just encourage you, when it comes to relationships, what's most important is what you bring to the relationship. It's not about what you can get. I just want, get. It's not about that. But it's about what you can bring to this relationship, because I make Amanda better and Amanda makes me better. And together we have a great relationship, but it's what you can bring to the relationship. And I would encourage you with this. You will not bring good things to a relationship without a good foundation. And a lot of people come in a relationship and it looks like they have a great house built on the rock, but really all they have is framework. They've just got the framework of a house, but the house is empty. It's not built on the rock. And so I would encourage you, whether you're in a relationship or not, you want to be in a relationship right now and you're not, or you're liking somebody and you just don't know what to do, you're in a waiting season, whatever it is, focus on the foundation. Focus on your foundation. Focus on building your life on a foundation so that when you come to a relationship, you are bringing a solid, secure you, so that when you get into a relationship, I'm not dependent on your affirmation to be healthy. I'm not dependent on your compliments to be a healthy person, but I'm secure on the foundation, the rock of Jesus Christ, and that's what makes me a secure, healthy Wes and a secure, healthy you. And so focus on the foundation, regardless of whatever season you're in, because that's what's going to make you last in your relationship with Jesus and your relationship with other people. So focus on the foundation, not just building the house and the framework so that you can look good to other people. It's about the foundation, but you got to dig deep. You got to go below the surface. And so I encourage you with that. And I love you so much.
Wait, we have to give away.
Happy Valentine's Day. We didn't even say anything.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Will you be my Valentine? We love you so much, and we are going to give away $50.
A gift card to your choice, but should we ask the question and whoever answers first? Because that's kind of, I don't have time to submit everybody who's here.
How we have them text in, and we'll put it at random.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they'll text in, and then we'll choose from them.
Or we just give away right now.
I'm trying to think of like a random Valentine's Day question. Okay, how about this? First person to comment where you want the gift card to. The gift card's going to go to you. So, 3, 2, 1, has to be a student. Also, it'll be the first one we see, so I'm sorry if they come in differently, but it's the way we see it.
Speed.
This is all about speed. Also on YouTube as
This is all about speed. All about speed. It's going to come up right here.
Nate said Amazon.
We got an Amazon winner. Let's
Reagan
go.
also said Amazon, but
he's second place.
Okay, now they're all coming in.
Holy cow.
Okay, first one we saw was Nate, right?
Yep. Okay, Nate, DM us after this.
We'll get you your gift card.
Or text our text.
See,
Connect.
I would just like to say, look at all these Amazon.
I know.
I was trying to tell him that you guys like Amazon. And he was like, are you sure? I'm like, they like Amazon. Because you can get anything on Amazon.
Nate, congratulations. We love you, dude. And
look at all these Amazon. Oh,
whatever. Gosh. Okay, you win. You win.
I win.
You win. Happy Valentine's Day. Thanks for coming out tonight. We love you so much. I am Speed. That's what Nate said. Nate, get us your email and we will send you the Amazon gift card for $50. And we will see you next week, Sunday, January. It is February. Sunday, February 21st for Youth Life Groups. Don't miss out, 7 p.m. We love you so much.